What's going on, guys? We are back, baby. So, the United States is back at war with Iran. There was a ceasefire for like 3 weeks, and as of yesterday, Iran started launching more drones and missiles at the United States Navy and also into the UAE, United Arab Emirates, at some of their oil and gas depots. So, war is back on, and this is a Cappy Army video specifically about, it says, the U.S. Navy risky escort mission to break the stalemate. So I genuinely have no idea what this is about, other than most likely what's happening in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. So this is going to be good. Cappy always does these killer breakdowns, man, no pun intended. So I'm excited to watch this. Go subscribe to his channel, of course. I'll link it in the title and the description, as I always do. Before we do jump into it, though, I want to remind you guys, we are still doing our fundraiser for John and Patrick's drone team. Here, watch this real quick.
Hello everyone from Different Breed. My name is John from Sweden. This is Patrick from Norway. We've been in Ukraine for 4 years now. We are transitioning into drones, and we're taking drone classes right now, and we need your help. We are launching a fundraiser for controllers, ground station cables, antennas, and goggles. We're very thankful for all you guys' help up until this point. It means a lot to us. And a lot of the work we've been doing down here wouldn't be possible without you guys' help. So we truly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And Slava Ukraini! Героям слава!
As you saw there, these guys have been here since the beginning of the war, and just doing really great work. And now they are doing some extremely important work, but they need our help. And so many of you guys have already donated and want to help them, so thank you so much for that. If you are willing and able to donate, consider helping these guys, because this is an opportunity, I should say, where you can donate, whether it's $1, $5, $500, or no money, and you just share the link. The opportunity of helping a smaller team is that once they're up and running, which will be fast, we'll start to receive some of their content, and then I can show you guys where your actual money's going, rather than just writing a check off to some massive, NGO or corporation that you don't know where your money's going for sure. So, all right, guys, let's watch Cappy Army. Please like, share, subscribe. Let's get to 50,000 subs, baby. Let's go. We're already at 41K. God dang. All right, let's go, Cappy.
Ahoy! The U.S. Navy just launched a risky escort mission, codenamed Project Freedom, to rescue the hundreds of tankers that have been stuck here in the Strait of Hormuz for the past 2 months.
Little help, guys?
The live conflict map behind me shows us geolocated reports. Here we see CENTCOM claimed multiple Arleigh Burke American destroyers transited through the Strait of Hormuz and then escorted 2 U.S. flagged vessels safely to the other side, where they went along their business. It's one of those reverse runs on a double blockade. Classic. As the escort mission kicked off, Iran immediately retaliated though, and they sent a swarm of 40 fast attack boats to intercept. This satellite image even captured the Iranian speedboats on the move. Iran launched the boats and they fired missiles at the US warships. The US Navy ran headfirst into this ambush, or in this case, a target-rich environment. They blew up 6 IRGC fast attack boats. It was Pirates of the Caribbean if they had helicopters. According to CENTCOM Commander Brad Cooper, Apache helicopters and MH-60 Seahawks were deployed to create this massive defensive screen in front of the ships. Where's that idiot that said helicopters are obsolete? The US attack helicopters loitered over the Strait of Hormuz, firing 30mm cannons and Hellfire missiles at the IRGC boats. Some of the Mosquito fleet was swapped.
Dude, I was just going to say, they call it the Mosquito fleet because they're just annoying, pesky, and they come in swarms. Dude, imagine how fun that would be, being in that Apache gunship. Oh my, in the gunner seat. Oh.
Got it. The remaining 30-something boats that were alive retreated. Today, I want to look at...
It's like that Call of Duty mission where you're in the C-130, and they have the Call of Duty missions in like attack helicopters as well. But if you're around my age You know exactly what I'm talking about, bro.
Can the U.S. naval escort break the stalemate? How is Iran retaliating? And will I be able to pay less than $4.30 a gallon? So the operational picture in the Strait of Hormuz has evolved quickly. What started as an Iranian blockade of U.S. allied oil exports and exports in general has turned into a counter blockade by U.S. forces now preventing Iranian exports. And on top of all of that, a U.S. escort mission is now in there to break the Iranian side of the blockade. And meanwhile, Iranian-sanctioned vessels are trying to run the U.S. blockade. Further complicating all of this, at the same time, hundreds of miles away, the IDF is fighting Hezbollah inside Lebanon, which Iran has tied to any attempts to diplomatically clear this up. It's like what my old squad leader used to always call a classic cluster. In response to the escort mission, the IRGC literally went ballistic, immediately started launching drones and ballistic missiles in retaliation at U.S. warships in an attempt to disrupt the mission. Iranian state media released this combat footage showing missile launches at U.S. warships from land. U.S. destroyers intercepted and avoided all incoming munitions fired at them, but it appears Iran's retaliation did also have some initial success. A South Korean ship on the Strait of Hormuz was reportedly hit by some kind of munition, causing a fire on board. There was no massive change in the amount of ships going through the Strait of Hormuz, no massive run through the strait with hundreds of ships pouring through. Iran's Fars news agency, affiliated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, initially claimed that they hit a U.S. naval frigate in the waters near Josk after, quote, the U.S. vessel ignored warnings from Iranian forces for violating the security of transit and navigation, according to them. The Pentagon clapped back, saying that that was a lie, saying, quote, the truth is, no U.S. Navy ship has been struck. U.S. forces are supporting Project Freedom and enforcing the naval blockade on Iranian ports. Then, Iranian officials clarified what they were saying, and they said that they stopped U.S. ships from entering the strait at all with a warning shot. Iran's Revolutionary Guard stated that no commercial vessels had managed to cross the strait, and that the U.S. claims about that were false.
We prevented American destroyers from entering Hormuz after issuing a stern warning.
So we're left with a straight up...
Was that before or after we liquidated 6 of your fast attack boats?
Hormuz game of he said, she said. It only took hours after the announcement of an escort mission at all for the first signs and cracks in the ceasefire to appear. UAE, which has become Iran's favorite country to attack, was hit by drones and 12 ballistic missiles, showing Iran still does have the capability to surge missile attacks. Some of the missions were intercepted by air defense, but others got through, setting fire to an oil industry zone. Was the whole escort mission just a way of pressuring the ceasefire into ending? So far, the war has not resumed in full, meaning the combat is mostly contained to the strait. President Trump has claimed before, early in the war, that the Navy was going to do an escort mission, but last time, the Pentagon pretty quickly said that was not happening. Since then, several shaping operations were done to prepare for a possible escort mission, though. The Air Force dropped hundreds of 2,000-pound bombs over the Strait of Hormuz, attempting to knock out missile sites, and they destroyed more than 15 mine-laying vessels. They then surged in more ammunition, ships, and interceptors into the region in preparation.
We've been getting drone strikes all day today, which isn't abnormal, but some of them have been really close. So check in with my people that are nearby and stuff. That's all.
For this,
the reason I say that is because it's very obvious when I'm on my phone while I'm recording, and I remember one person in particular was like, sorry, basically was like, sorry for interrupting your texting time while you're making a video, blah blah blah. Some of it's time sensitive, right? So I just do it while I can.
Mission. An official press release from CENTCOM stated that the mission will support merchant vessels seeking to freely transit through the essential international trade corridor. Admiral Brad Cooper, CENTCOM commander, said, quote, our support for this defensive mission is essential for regional security and the global economy as we also maintain the naval blockade. And to that end, CENTCOM announced that multiple U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyers are currently operating in the Arabian Gulf after transiting the Strait of Hormuz in support of Project Freedom. They reported that American forces are actively assisting efforts to restore transit for commercial shipping. Whenever I see these official accounts post something like this on X, it always makes me think of the AOL away messages. Like I'm looking at CENTCOM's away message. Is it just me? But all might not be as it seems, because Jennifer Parker, a non-resident fellow at the Lowley Institute and former Royal Australian Naval officer, believes we're not seeing an actual full escort mission yet. She said, quote, "This appears to be an operation, which is less about providing direct protection to vessels or a couple of vessels and more about trying to change the situation in the strait so that ships feel safe," end quote. So far, Project Freedom appears to be what reminds me of actually kind of like the old presence patrols that I used to do in Iraq. We would drive around in our strikers up and down the main highway as a show of force. Parker told CNN that, quote, "In some ways, Trump is forcing Iran's hand. They would need to escalate and fire at U.S. warships, which is a different kind of escalation," end quote. Which, if we believe the combat reports initially, Iran already fired on U.S. ships. And this makes sense when you look at the statement by CENTCOM commander who said, quote, "Over the last 12 hours, we've reached out to dozens of ships and shipping companies to encourage traffic flow through the Strait of Hormuz to help guide ships safely through the narrow trade corridor. BRB escorting tankers through Hormuz. CENTCOM got things handled. Don't wait up. Ping later." With any war, my first question is always, what am I allowed to shoot at and when? What am I not allowed to shoot at as well? The rules of engagement for U.S. forces operating near the Strait of Hormuz is that everyone is authorized to shoot at any immediate threat in that local region, including Iran's fast attack boats, their missile positions on land, meaning that they've been given the green light in this area only. Don't try to kill people outside. It's not okay to kill people anywhere else. How does the U.S. view the operation? CENTCOM Commander Admiral Cooper said, quote, "I think the key thing is, for us, we're merely there as a defensive force and in force to give a very thick layer of defense to commercial shipping to allow them to proceed out of the Arabian Gulf," end quote. The way it works now is the two dueling blockades each have their own safe passage route. Iran's route hugs close to their shores, while the new Project Freedom corridor, quote unquote, is on the other side closer to the shores of Oman. The safe word on the American corridor is Hua, and the safe word on the Iranian side is Habibi. Wait, do they say that over there? The U.S.-led Joint Maritime Information Center has advised ships to cross the strait in Oman's waters, saying that they set up what's called an enhanced security area. So that's the enhanced security area isn't exactly the same as a convoy escort mission quite yet. Sir, maybe if we tell them we're almost out of missiles, they'll come out of hiding. Now, how is the U.S. Navy clearing the path? Isn't Hormuz mined up the ass? It's not like your daddy's Hormuz mission. They're using autonomous drones to clear the water of mines. In the past, escort missions required a bunch of dedicated mine-clearing ships to clear the path. No longer. The new strategy was underway since a month before the war even began. Old American minesweepers were moved out of the region and replaced by new systems. In their place, 2 littoral combat ships were sent with their anti-mine capabilities modularly attached to them. The MCM version, the unmanned surface vehicle that tows these sonars behind it. Those sonars detect sea mines, then they detonate them. These are capabilities that the Navy did not have during the 1980s when escorting ships back through the strait then. However, there are more challenges of a contested escort mission for an extended period of time through the Strait of Hormuz. Since the ceasefire on April 8th, there are now more than 850 ships estimated to be trapped in the Gulf, and a total of some 2,000 ships stuck in and around the Persian Gulf. On board these stuck ships are more than 20,000 sailors, and that's according to the International.
So I'm curious what you guys think about all this, because we talk primarily about Ukraine here, but there's been a lot going on in the world. So we covered Venezuela when Venezuela stuff was happening. We'll probably end up covering Cuba when that kicks off, inevitably, and we're covering this too. So I want to know what you guys think about the United States's Operation Epic Fury and Operation Epic Freedom, which is this operation to get basically open the Strait of Hormuz. I want to give you my opinion, so you know where I stand. Most of you guys already know, but Iran has been a major ally of Russia, for a long time, but specifically ever since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022. I am more than happy to see Iran get completely, the IRGC, and not the Iranian people, the IRGC, the regime that is bad in Iran. I'm more than happy to see these people get absolutely vaporized. Now, with that said, I do, and I'm no professional statistician or anything, but I do my homework and I know some things, right? So I think this ceasefire just gives Iran time to basically reorg, reload, and dig deeper tunnels and trenches to hide their stuff in. I think if we're gonna be over there with all of our service personnel, we have like over 50,000 United States military personnel over there. Finish the job. Let's get it done. No matter what that looks like, whether it means more bombing campaigns, whether it means putting boots on the ground, whether that means going boots on the ground in Karg Island or in Iran proper. And I know people get really weird when you start talking about boots on the ground in the Middle Eastern country, but I promise you the boys that they're going to put boots, whose boots are going to be on the ground, are literally sitting in those boats nipping like rabid dogs ready to go, man. They're like, let us out, let us out, let us out. I promise you those Marines are ready to go rock those mother effers worlds. So you might be like, well, no boots on the ground, blah, blah, blah. I understand that, but put yourself for a second in their perspective. I guarantee they're ready to rock and roll. So that's kind of my perspective. If we're going to be over there, let's get the job done and let's clean house and let's carry on. And then start applying pressure to Putin. You did it with Maduro. You did it with Supreme Leader of Iran, Kimo Wasabi. Now do it with Putin.
Maritime Organization. They've been stuck on these ships for 2 months now in what must feel like the longest traffic jam of your life, living in purgatory with the threat of missiles. These sailors are stuck often without fresh food or water for long lengths at a time. Moving that many ships would take a long time at the current pace, but pulling several destroyers off the blockade for an escort mission creates operational challenges. This is because several of Iran's blockaded ports are located further to the southeast from the choke point itself. There are Iranian sanctioned oil tankers that are sitting there right now, and these ports have been stopped by the blockade so far. Could the U.S. Navy maintain this blockade and also simultaneously escort mission at the same time? Possibly. It's why we've seen a new surge of ships. Stars and Stripes now counted in a huge armada of 27 American warships in the Middle East right now. Fifth Fleet has command over currently 3 aircraft carriers, the USS Abraham Lincoln and its strike group of 11 destroyers that come along with it for the blockade. And according to Stars and Stripes analysis, this is roughly 40% of all the service's active ships are operating right here. According to CENTCOM, U.S. military support for Project Freedom will include over 100 land and sea-based aircraft, multi-domain unmanned platforms, and more than 15,000 service members. Then you have the aircraft carrier USS George Bush also arriving on station. For a moment, it looked like the U.S. was surging to have 3 aircraft carriers arriving on station. For a moment, it looked like the U.S.
Look how happy this guy looks. He's like, I got 3 more years of this. Look at her. Hey, thank you for your service, you guys. Seriously, you are doing a great thing, man. Whether you like or dislike the American government, you gotta support the American military, no matter what. Republican, Democrat, Green Party, whatever. Bernie Sanders, I don't care. You support the United States military. Full stop.
Was surging to have 3 aircraft carriers in the Middle East, but reports indicate that the USS Ford is finally headed back home after a historic more than 10-month deployment. Analysts believe that this is enough ships to try to conduct the 2-pronged strategy of blockade and not blockade. The challenge to a prolonged escort mission is that Iran has sea-skimming, low-altitude missiles with a range of 75 to 185 miles, plenty of distance to engage U.S. warships there. They fly at a low altitude, making them hard to detect and intercept. But what makes this fight really tense, I think, is that Iran has them positioned here on islands like Qashem. They're hidden in underground tunnels with pop-up launch sites. So what the U.S. is doing is flying A-10 Warthogs, F-15s, and F-18 fighter jets all along here here, trying to shoot them down the second they try to fire. We see on-flight radar trackers a surge of mid-air refuelers from American tankers on station during the escort missions. Even if the US is able to escort some ships through the Oman corridor, they would need to almost entirely neutralize the threat for them to make a meaningful change in traffic. So since the double blockade began, the war has been in a kind of stalemate. The effect has been a crippling of Iran's already weakened economy. Iran's national currency has hit a new all-time low of 1.84 million against the US dollar. Millions of people have lost their jobs while the internet has remained dark throughout the conflict. On the other hand, it's also caused gas prices to soar in the United States, which has made the price of just about everything else go up. And it's put increased political pressure on Trump to end the war. It's like two bare-knuckle boxers just sitting there punching each other at the Strait of Hormuz to see who will give first. Since U.S. forces imposed the blockade on April 13th, as of today, 50 commercial vessels have been stopped or redirected to comply with this blockade by America. U.S. Marines from the 31st MEU, eager to get off their ships anyway, fast-roped onto Iranian vessels, commandeering them. Another Iranian-sanctioned vessel trying to run the blockade was shot by the Navy's 5-inch guns right into their engine compartment. And they were
Hey, for my high speed guys out there, how are these dudes getting off of this shipping container lower? This is two stories, 2 shipping containers high, right? And I just feel like in a full kit, dude, if you try to jump off of that onto this blue one, dude, you're breaking limbs.
Boarded by Navy SEALs.
Oh, unless there is. Oh, I see. Okay, maybe there's a ladder right here. It looks like they're moving off that back here, possibly.
SEALs capturing millions of barrels of oil. On the other side, Iran has captured 2 commercial tankers. It's a Mexican standoff in the Persian Gulf. Will this convoy work? Like Hollywood, geopolitics also lazily reboots everything from the 1980s, because a full-on escort convoy mission also happened in the 1980s. At the time, Iran and Iraq were attacking each other's oil tankers to cripple their economies, and it was called the Tanker Wars. To prevent an oil shock and protect U.S. interests, America sent forces in what was called Operation Earnest Will. The U.S. Navy acted as a kind of maritime peer mediator. However, that same kind of convoy mission today might not be possible. Carl Schuster, a former U.S. Navy captain, said to CNN, quote, "We don't have the assets to do traditional convoy ops in the Strait of Hormuz." During Operation Earnest Will, an estimated 40 U.S. warships participated over the course of the operation, but at any given time, typically 10 to 15 warships were on station escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, which is about how many destroyers are in the region right now, but some need to protect the 2 aircraft carriers and others need to conduct that blockade. This is why maritime experts believe that the U.S. carriers and others...
That's a cool map, dude. It shows where all of our carriers are. Wow.
Need to conduct that blockade. This is why maritime experts believe that the U.S. Navy is actually starting with a presence patrol operation instead of a close-in escort convoy at this point. The U.S. Navy had the initial advantage of surprise and may have gotten some ships through, but the rest of the ships are sitting back and waiting to see if the Navy can sustain that kind of high-risk mission. Experts on the Iranian economy are split. Many believe that the IRGC can weather this storm for at least 3 to 6 months, though. We're not just soldiers here, we're also monks. Is there any hope that diplomacy could save us all? Iran's latest proposal allegedly would see them agree to a 15-year freeze of uranium enrichment, after which it would resume enriching uranium to only 3.6%, the peaceful percent. I'll believe it when I see it. Iran rejected the U.S. demands to totally dismantle nuclear infrastructure and facilities, which appears to be possibly why the United States then decided to push their luck with this escort mission. Iran requested all sanctions be lifted off them and that funds be unfrozen in exchange for this nuclear agreement. If you like this episode, check out this deep dive we did on whether the United States is running low on critical munitions, or this playlist here on
check out Cabby's channel, you guys. Like I said, he's the GOAT. He's always got he's got people on the inside, man, because some of the info that he gets, I'm like, boy, who do you know? So I just wanted to say this, or I guess reiterate and ask you guys again what you think about everything that's happening over there. Do you guys think we shouldn't be over there in the first place? Do you think it's all because of, and I'm already expecting these comments, but it's all because the United States is ran by Israel? What do you guys think, man? Like I said in the middle of this, like or dislike the government, you got to support the United States military. And aside from that, the U.S. military is the best in the entire world, and they know what they're doing. So it's the only time I hesitate or I feel like they could be doing something incorrectly is if their commander in chief is giving them wrong um, orders, wrong information. Their commander in chief, maybe he has it wrong. That's the only time I consider the United States. I would consider the United States doing something incorrectly, really. Um, so I don't know. I think I try not to judge too hard the actual tactics of the military because these guys are just they're elite, man. These generals, these commanders, these ship captains. I mean, they're the best of the best. So I don't know, man. It's interesting to me. I find this very fascinating. I do think the United States looks soft right now, kind of just sitting out there in the Strait of Hormuz and letting the Iranians or the IRGC hold 900 cargo ships hostage, basically, and not let any of them go through. I think it makes the U.S. look soft. I think we have so much firepower in that region. We should just vaporize and take complete control of the strait and just basically set the precedent that you're not going to hold anything over our heads. You're not going to hold these people hostage. You're not going to tell us what to do. We run this. But again, what do I know? That's just my opinion. You guys, I love you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.